Hello there. We're going to look at multiplying decimals. Look at an example. 7 times 0.2. How do we work out the answer? You multiply the non-zero, the significant figures together. 7 times 2 is 14. You then examine the question, and you see that in the question we have a total of one figure after decimal point. So our answer will require one figure after decimal point, and it's from the right. So the answer is 1.4. Question 2. Let's look at another example. 0.3 times 8. 3 times 8 is 24. We examine the question, and in the question we have one figure after decimal point, so our answer requires one figure after decimal point. So it's 2.4. Question 3. About 0.6 times 0.7. Well, let's multiply the non-zero, the significant figures together. 6 times 7 is 42. And when we look at the question, we see we have one figure here after decimal point and one figure here. So we have a total of two figures after decimal point. So our answer is 0.42. Now you can't begin a number with a decimal point, so we have to put a 0 in. So it's 0.42. Question 4. 0.2 times 0.4. So you multiply 2 and 4 together to give you 8. Then we look at the question, and we've got two figures after the decimal point. So we need we've only got one figure. What we do here is we pad out our answer with zeros. They're the only figures we can add when we need to. So 0.8. So I'll put the decimal point here. That way I have two figures after the decimal point as required by the question. The question had two figures after decimal point. As we saw earlier, you can't begin a number with a decimal point. So the answer is 0.08. Now we can extend this question 5. Look at this example here. 0.7 times 0.03. So we multiply the 7 times the 3 together to give 21. Now let's have a look how many figures we have in the whole question after the decimal point. 1 here and 2 here. So we've got 3 figures after decimal point. Again, we don't have enough figures. So what we do is we add a 0 and put the decimal point there. That way we have 3 figures in the answer after decimal point, the same as in total number of figures after decimal point in the question. And as I said, you can't begin an answer with a decimal point. Now, to recap, multiply the non-zero figures together, then look to see how many figures are after decimal point in the whole question, and make sure that's how many you have in the answer. If you don't have enough figures, add some zeros in. So what I want you to do is, I want you to practice these 5 I'm going to put on the board. So copy down these questions, then I'll tell you what to do. So make sure you're copying this with me. Okay, now put it on pause, and then once you've answered these, let's see if we've got them right, or if you've got them right. Okay, hopefully you've just had a go at those. Now let's go through the answers. 7 times 5 is 35. One figure after the decimal point, so one figure after the decimal point in the answer, and the answer is 3.5. Right, question 7. 2 times 8 is 16. We have one figure after the decimal point in the question, so we need one figure after the decimal point in the answer. So it's 1.6. What about question 8? 3 times 9 is 27. Let's look how many figures we have after the decimal point. We've got 2 here, so our answer needs 2. So the decimal point goes here, and as we've learned earlier, you can't begin a number with a decimal point. So it's 0.27. Question 9. 1 times 5 is 5. Let's look at the number of figures after this point in the question. We've got 2 here. We've only got 1 figure on our answer. So we pad it out with a 0. Now we need 2 figures after the decimal point. So there they are. They're the 2 figures. Put a decimal point there. And then can't begin a number with a decimal point, so put a 0 in. And finally, let's see if we got this one right. 2 times 4 is 8. Let's look at the question. We've got 1, 2, 3 figures after decimal point. We've only got 1 figure. So I'm going to need 3 zeros. I beg your pardon, 2 zeros here. Now I've got 3 figures. That needs to be after the decimal point. And you can't begin a number, blah, 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 with a decimal point. So there's the answer, 0.008. Okay, I hope you've got the hang now of multiplying by decimals. Thank you for listening.